I'm Marjorie Taylor. Annette Taylor's my daughter. She was just 11 years of age. She was in her high school year, first year at school down in St Pat's at Braddon, when she suddenly came home from school on the Thursday afternoon and said she didn't feel well. By the time that I'd got home from work, I could see that she wasn't well, called a doctor, and she had a cerebral hemorrhage and a cardiac arrest, and eventually she passed away on the Sunday. She was a very intelligent little girl, very inquisitive, and she would really make in-depth inquiries of things that she was interested in. Annette came to me one afternoon, we were preparing our dinner, and that wanted to have the conversation to me and tell me that she had been speaking to a friend, a colleague of mine, about organ donation. This friend, Bruce, had just come back from having a kidney transplant in Sydney, and they'd had great conversation. A few weeks later, she read a small clip in the newspaper, and that really confirmed to her. So she brought the conversation up again and said that if ever that she were to, anything happened to her, that's the words that she said, she would like her kidneys transplanted. So when that she did take ill suddenly, very suddenly, from being a very active child, a very active student and active with everything she did, it came as really a shock to me that she'd be sick. And I'll never forget the bells that were ringing and the rushing around of the entrance to the hospital. She was taken to a ward, and just around midnight that night, I had some doctors come to see me, and they said to me that she wasn't going to pull through. And at that point, I just automatically went back to the conversation that Annette and I had had. And I said, well, if that is the case, I'd like her organs taken. I'm sitting there as a mum holding her hand and thinking, this is just not right. And they're saying, oh, we can't do it. And then we just debated backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards, and I had to really be very persuasive that I wasn't going to take no for an answer. Within about 3/4 of an hour later, in came a couple of doctors and one urologist that my husband was a patient to. And when he walked in, he seen that it was me and it was Annette lying in the bed. He was most surprised. He couldn't believe it. And he said, look, this is serious. Marge does mean it. Let's see what we can do. And the window of opportunity in those days, 50 years ago, was very slim. We didn't know if Annette would last through to get all the matching tissue typing and blood worked all up to see if there was definitely two people that had matching. I got word late on Saturday night that yes, they had two patients that were then on their way to Sydney, or one lived in Sydney, and that Professor Shields from the University in Sydney would be coming down to retrieve Annette's kidneys the next morning. And that's how it all sort of came to be. Professor Shields landed on the first plane and went out back to Sydney on the next plane. And they said that Annette could not have lasted another couple of hours. So it was just a miracle that her kidneys were taken. When it's told to you that your loved one, a child, isn't going to make it, it's a huge, huge shock. It's the worst shock that you can experience. I've experienced my dad, my mum, brothers and sisters and very close loved ones pass away, but a young child's shock, you just go numb. And there was something that clicked within my brain to go onto autopilot and then say, look, this has got to be done. The opportunity's here. Let it happen. Over the years, our grieving became pride in what she'd done. I was very proud of what she's done. You know, to help a man that's in his 40s that had a family, was on dialysis for 3 or 4 years, going backwards and forwards to that, and then working in the night, having that must have been just horrendous for them. And then to think that we had a 14-year-old boy that took the other kidney, and he was in school, not much older than Annette. So your heart goes out to them to give him a better life. And it was just, when all of this sinks in, you're just so proud and you're just so glad that you've done it. 50 years on, I think a lot has changed within the hospital situation. There's every bit of support that you would wish for. The message that I'd really like to get out to people is sign up, yes, if you find out, but not only sign up, talk to your families about it, talk to your friends about it. Even if it need be, talk to your enemies about it, because it's a wonderful gift. And it's something that we all need to stand up to and be responsible as a human being.